Rudolf Oeser was a German journalist and liberal politician. From 1922 to 1924 he was a member of several governments of the Weimar Republic, serving as Minister of the Interior and Minister of Transport. Early life and career. Oeser was born on 13 November 1858 at Coswig, Anhalt, in what was then the Kingdom of Prussia, as the son of a manufacturer. He worked as a book trader but then studied philosophy and economics and became a journalist. In 1890–92 he was the editor-in-chief of the Elmer Zeitung and then joined the business editors of the Frankfurter Zeitung. In 1902 he became the head of the editorial team for Germany. He was a member of the German People's Party and then the FVP. In 1902, Oeser was elected to the Landtag of Prussia for the constituency of Frankfurt am Main. He was also a member of the Reichstag from 1907 to 1911, arguing for tax breaks for retail traders, the public control of corporate cartels and syndicates, and for changes to the Prussian election law. During World War I, Oeser joined the Deutsche Gesellschaft 1914 and in 1917 became editor of the Ostsee-Zeitung and head of the Stettiner Druckerei at Stettin. However, he continued to contribute articles to the Frankfurter Zeitung until the early 1920s. As the war casualties mounted, Oeser urged families to have many children, and he also favored giving women the same political and social status as men. Weimar Republic. After the end of the war, Oeser was once again a member of the Prussian Diet, first of the Landsversammlung, the Constituent Assembly of Prussia in 1919–21 and then 1921–24 of the Landtag, this time for the German Democratic Party. After March 1919, he was also Minister for Public Works in the Prussian government, making him responsible for infrastructure including the railways. During the Kapp-Luttwitz Putsch of March 1920, Oeser was one of those arrested by the putschists. To prevent a strike by railway workers, Kapp wanted to release Oeser, who insisted that the other Prussian ministers should also be released. The next day, Oeser and Prussian Minister of Finance Albert Sudekum demanded Kapp's resignation and threatened him with a strike by railway workers. Nevertheless, after the end of the putsch, the Railway Workers' Union asked for Oeser's dismissal, claiming he had failed to oppose the putsch vigorously enough. Oeser remained in office and was in charge of transferring control over the railways to the Reich. He then left the Prussian government in April 1921 and became Landeshauptmann of the province of Saxony. In the cabinet of Wilhelm Kuno, Oeser became Reichsminister des Innen in November 1922. As a staunch Democrat and Republican, Oeser was a firm supporter of the Weimar Constitution. During the occupation of the Ruhr, Oeser hoped for France to incur material losses through a devaluation of the franc. He supported the policy of passive resistance, despite the damaging effect it had on the German economy, thinking it might be used not just to end the Ruhrkampf but also to achieve a revision of the much-despised Treaty of Versailles. After the Kuno cabinet resigned in August 1923, Oeser took over the Reichsverkehrsministerium in the cabinet of Gustav Stresemann. In the coalition crisis of November 1923 he favored an exit by the Social Democrats from the cabinet but overestimated the willingness to tolerate a minority government. In the subsequent cabinet of Wilhelm Marx, Oeser prepared the Reichsbahn for its independence as a formally private institution. In early April 1924, Reichspräsident Friedrich Ebert named Oeser as temporary general director of the Reichsbahn, supported by a provisionary board of directors made up of the ministry's secretaries of state. Senate. To serve its intended role under the Dawes Plan, the Reichsbahn required a supervisory board among whose members were some foreigners. Oeser defended this constellation in the Reichstag against attacks from the NSDAP and DNVP. At the end of September, the Supervisory Board of the Reichsbahn designated Oeser as General Director. He left the cabinet formally on the 11th of October and concentrated on reforming the Reichsbahn. In 1925, he became seriously ill and died on 3 June 1926 in Berlin. Oeser had been married to Emily Oeser. Works: Die Bestcherung des Kleinhandels Durchumsatzbranchen, Filial, Personal, und so weiter. Stuhensauer die Lage des Kleinhandels und die Mittel zur Besserung 1899-1901. Wie stellen WIRUNS zu den Kartellen und Syndikaten? 1902. Mehr Kinder, mehr Urban. Die Bedeutung der biologischen Erbwerte für Kinder und Volk. Zeitgemäß Betrachtungen, 1918.